Teardown suggests that the iPhone SE is built on a lot of scrap. Apple decides to address all the complaints of iOS 9.3 with an update, and Microsoft claims that Windows 10 Mobile is sadly not its priority. I'm Jaime Rivera, and there came a point today where the UPS guy just didn't want to see me anymore. There's a lot of work coming. This is Pocketnow Daily. The official news today began with Apple for three different reasons. Number one, iPhone SEs are already arriving at doorsteps, in addition to the iPad Pro 9.7-inch that just arrived in my doorstep. But then again, even more interesting is the company's launch of iOS 9.3.1 with all the bug fixes for all the problems with 9.3. You'll notice that iPads were kind of forced to get the update, so if you haven't, I highly suggest you do. And then moving the spotlight over to Samsung, this is rather interesting. The company recently published an ad for a TV that showcased a guy that looked a lot like soccer legend Pelé, the Brazilian, and also doing a move that was particular to Pelé, something that made him famous when he used to play soccer. Up to the point where Pelé has now decided to sue Samsung for $30 million over deceiving marketing. We cannot wait to see how this is going to play out. Stay tuned. And for those of you that went crazy in the comments yesterday over no news regarding Build, there was a reason for that. The company's Terry Myerson just came on record to state that even though the company is invested in smartphones, their priorities for bringing developers into Microsoft's ecosystem are not really focused on mobile. According to Myerson, they're focused on bringing this elsewhere. And it's something I really don't understand. I mean, Microsoft is such a large company. I cannot understand why the company cannot figure out mobile and hasn't been able to figure out mobile for decades. So I think this is just a blunt excuse, but then again, I would love to know what you think in the comments down below. And then going back to Apple, we've got some very interesting teardowns of the iPhone SE already. That's a thing. And one of the most interesting and revealing parts of these teardowns is just how much Apple recycles from its previous units. There are a ton of parts that make up the iPhone SE that come from the iPhone 5S. And yeah, there are others that come from the iPhone 6S, but the fact that there are so many parts from a device that's 3 years old is rather striking. It means that either these parts were really good, or that Apple is really great at recycling, or that the company is just really cheap. And it makes sense. I mean, the phone is adequately priced. And finally, the very hot news today have to do with, AT&T, ZTE, and Cyanogen, as we've got some interesting reports claiming that all three companies are partnering to build a smartphone that does not depend on Google. And this isn't the first time that we've seen forked versions of Android. We've seen it from Amazon on their Kindle lineup. And, Cyanogen became famous over the idea of getting rid of Google, and we also see it in pretty much every smartphone in China. So it just is very interesting to see that AT&T wants to bring this to the United States. Up to the point where it leads me to the question of today. Would you want to buy a smartphone that does not depend on Google services, or that does not allow them or require them, or just makes them optional? Which would be your pick? Because in my case, I am so dependent on Google services, I would totally not buy one, but we'd love to know in your opinion, what would you do in your case? Friends, you know the way it goes if you want to get these news earlier before the video is filmed. Follow us on Pocketnow.com and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. In addition, you can also follow our videos on Vessel at Vessel.com/Pocketnow. You can follow me on Twitter at Jaime_Rivera or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.